So I discovered Aurobindo actually at the age around 45. And I never heard of Aurobindo and the mother and Aurobindo before that. Being a social scientist who was very agnostic, first of all, being raised as a Catholic, and then at the age of 18, rejecting church, seeing it as an institutional form of, that was my perspective, as a form of kind of dogmatic dogma, and I could not agree with it. And then becoming a social scientist and doing my PhD, I kind of disconnected from any spirituality. And then I didn't know much about Eastern spirituality, but I started to feel that something was missing in my life. And then together with this philosophical and mental restlessness with inadequacy of academia, I discovered writings of Aurobindo. And that was true bliss. Because he is a scientist, also a philosopher. He spoke to my analytical, scientific mind because I needed that. But then also opened my heart, my whole being. And that's how my journey into his teachings and philosophy and experiences and everything took over my whole being. And since then has guided my whole life, everything I do, how I live, how I breathe.
And so there was this summer magazine called Mangai Mala. In that magazine, there was a little write-up on the mother. Then my mom, after she finished reading that, she quietly got up, and I saw her going into the balcony. She comes back in, her face changed, and I saw her, and she makes a very prophetic statement. She brings that magazine to me, and she opens it up and says, "This woman will change your life." And I was like, what? Who is this woman? She goes, "I don't know who she is, but she's going to change your life." And that prophetic statement stayed with me for my life. Then I asked her, "What makes you say that?" Then she told me that I went to the balcony and a prayer came up welling through my heart. So the prayer was, "Lord, she's your child. Show me the way." And so she saw the sky filled with light. She saw stars sparkling. She didn't know what it was. And when she walked in, I actually saw her face glow. I knew that there was something deeper that was channelizing her to say this to me. And from then on, there was no looking back for me. I started off reading Life Divine, understood nothing of it, but I would read for hours and hours and hours. And my mother would actually come to me and gently say, "That's quite enough now. You've read enough. It's been hours together." And the same goes with mother's books. The beautiful writings of the mother, the education that she's given. Words cannot express what it means to be their children. And so this is how I met mother.
The biggest contribution of Mother Aurobindo in my life is that nothing needs to be rejected. As they say, the place for everything and everything in its place. So that makes you very wide and tolerant. And the whole problem today of the world is the war of philosophies where everybody thinks that they are the best. And Aurobindo frees you from that. My two problems were, what is this world about? It didn't make sense if you have to just be born and die. But you didn't want to also leave it and go to the monastery. So here was a path that combined the two, that while being in the world, you can, through this dance and music and academics and all that you love, you can realize the divine and you can be enlightened. So Sri Aurobindo was for me the first and the last, answer in my philosophical quest.
I mean, I've always felt that I have a connection to Sri Aurobindo before I knew Sri Aurobindo. I am in awe of what he has been able to achieve and bring to us. I think it's like he himself said that, one man's perfection can't change the world. He's done it for us. He's shown us that it can be done. And if he could do it, each one of us is capable of doing it. All life is yoga, or yoga is practical psychology, and you're living it. You're living it with every breath that you take. But what he's done is that you're conscious of what you're doing now. And even if you're not conscious, you know you have the ability to step back and be conscious. So, I mean, I feel blessed. I feel blessed that something in me was ready to receive this. It's actually, I think, the adventure of consciousness, right? Like the title of that book, it is actually that.